Hey now, welcome folks. Thank you for joining us this evening on Team Fortress TV for a little bit of ESEA Invite playoff action here. We got Street Hoops eSports going up against EVL Gaming in a lower bracket round one matchup. My name is Gecks. Alongside me I have Marxist and Mathsad on production. Marxist, how are we doing this evening?
Well, I'm doing pretty good, Gex. It'll be cool to be able to cast this through here. I especially like that it'll be EVL because I think that was the first game we did this season. So, nice little story.
Oh yes, indeed. We're bringing it full circle now as they try to keep their playoff hopes alive. They have to win the night. Well, both of these teams, if either of them want to stay in the playoff race, they need to win the night as this is a lower bracket matchup. So very big game on the line for both of these teams. It's the two desperate boys out here trying to fight it out. Who stays alive? So hopefully we're in for a good one because there's been a bit of tilt on both sides, both of these teams within the past week. So I think someone said on the forums, "Who's going to tilt harder in this game?" I wouldn't quite put it that way, but definitely a bit of frustration, I'm sure, on both sides. But they got to put it all out there tonight, Marxist.
Well, when you play in big games like this, going on tilt isn't that unusual. I remember in my own playing days, there was a guy on our team, pretty much everybody really liked him. We thought of him as our glue, and then we got into the playoffs, and nobody liked him again.
Well, stuff happens sometimes, but
But we won is the important part.
oh, you won. All right. Well, that's all that matters. Always got to get the dub. But anyway, you have the Street Hoops roster up there. We'll go ahead and run down that. Of course, on Scout, you have Alec Incisor, Romer. You have the Big Ash, the Carter Ash on Pocket, Showstopper, Demo. You have Dewatna and Kozin on Medic. Marxist, what are we looking at over on our EVL side here?
On EVL, we are looking at Slemnish and Eric for the scouts. That's just what we're going to call them there because that's their name. Bot mode is the Roamer. Aim is on Pocket. Assassin is your demo man. And Nursey is playing the medicals.
Well, that's your roster rundowns for this evening. That is what we're working with. Of course, EVL was uncertain whether Slemnish was going to be able to play with them going into playoffs, but they got that all figured out. Luckily, he came back to play with them, and they're definitely going to look to him tonight to make his presence known and help lead EVL to a win. But if we kind of take a look at where both of these teams have been so far throughout the season, as well as the playoffs so far, their matchups during the regular season, EVL, and this really started their breakout season that they had here, was beating 20B in week 1, 4-3 on Snakewater. They ended up losing to 20B on Granary. On week 6, I believe it was 4-2. They ended up losing that game, and Granary just so happens to be one of our maps this evening. Not sure if we ran over those, but it will be Granary, Badlands, and Gully Wash for our 3 maps this evening. So 20B won the last matchup on Granary. We'll see if they can get back into it here this evening. But looking at the rest of the playoff picture, you also have EVL that lost to Froyotech in the first round of the playoffs. They lost that 1-5 on Metalworks, 3-5 on 3-5 on Sunshine, excuse me, and that's what put them down here into the lower bracket. And they have to fight for it this evening to stay in it to get to the lower bracket final. 20B had a just disastrous game, to put it lightly, against Ronin in their first round matchup, losing 0-5 on both maps. So that's what got us here this evening, Marxist. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, Ronin is definitely looking really strong, but that's pretty much all I'm going to say about them. Because they're not playing in this match. But yeah, we should see. It'll be nice to see. We got Granary and Badlands, pretty much the 2 classic maps for our game here, even though the Granary is now slightly modified. So there shouldn't be anything, off kilter here. The first round featured Sunshine and Metalworks. Those 2 maps people don't really know how to feel about by and large, at least as far as I've seen. But at least here, you pretty much got no excuse. Everybody's played Granary and Badlands at least 500,000 times.
Yeah, certainly.
So we should see well-oiled machines.
We should indeed. Sorry, I don't know if my mumble crapped out there for a second, but yes, we should, hopefully. These are the much more standard maps, as we all know. and Marxist said it, that teams aren't necessarily always fond of Metalworks and Sunshine. I personally don't mind them too much, but I'm also not playing an invite, so maybe that's why. But yeah, we're on to some standard maps this evening, and as I said, on the last time these guys played on Granary, 20B did get the better of them. So we'll have to see who takes the matchup tonight. That will be our first map, Granary. Badlands the second, Gullywash the third. Marxist, what are you thinking tonight as just an overall prediction? Who's going to take this best of three and stay in the playoffs?
Well, as far as predictions go, I would say that 20B might come into this as the favorite just because of their overall history in Invite, as well as having done somewhat decently on Granary the last time they met. So we'll at least get the first map out of the way, because you're playing a best of three. You really want to win the first map, and then Badlands. I mean, everybody knows Badlands. So either, I don't know how 20B does on Badlands traditionally. Some teams can manage to be bad at it, but that's pretty rare, that where you would say that Badlands is one of your decidedly worst maps. So I would say they come into this as the favorite to take it. I don't know if EVL will get a game, or we saw them take it earlier in the season, but 20B has a different roster now, so a little bit different team to deal with.
That is a good thing to note. It is a slightly different roster than when EVL played them the first time, so definitely something to keep in mind going into this one here. But as we said, EVL had a decent showing against Froyotech in their first round of the playoffs, and this has been just a breakout season for them. They have a few notable wins throughout the regular season, of course, as I said, beating 20B in week 1. They also beat Froyotech, and they beat them on Gullywash, I believe it was, as well. It's two pretty big wins for a team that didn't even make it into playoffs last season, so really having themselves a great season, but they got to try and stay in it here. It's going to be the key for them to continuing this fantastic run that they've had. 20B were second place last season. They finished second place after beating Froyotech in the lower bracket finals, and people, I think, expected them to have a slightly better season than they did this year, but they did make it to playoffs nonetheless through some of the troubles that they had throughout the season. They've made it in here, and they're also trying to fight to stay alive. So two pretty good stories for both of these teams heading into this match. Who's going to take it? Definitely still up in the air here. We expect a good one, I'd say, Marxist.
Yeah, if you whip out the flux capacitor and go on YouTube and look at our first cast for 20B, I mean, everybody going on at the start of the season really looked at them as the universal favorites. They had done quite well last season, and then this season they really fell apart. Whatever happened, their mojo got taken away from them, and they've struggled to get back to their pretty much all season. EVL is a good story in general for Invite, because we see a lot of teams come into Invite out of IM, and then they don't do so hot, and then die, never to return to the game. I know they don't get casted very often, but if you look through the ESEA sheet of like the last 10 seasons, that 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th team generally doesn't stick around, and the players on them tend to vacate the premises. So it's really good that EVL stuck around, and now here they are. They're gonna, regardless of how this match goes, they're gonna win some money tonight.
Yes, exactly. They're definitely going to take home some money. Of course, they'd like to win it. And both of these teams would, because I believe it's a difference of about $700, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely want to take this game here, get a little bit of extra spending money, so to speak, a little holiday bonus. So we'll see what both of these guys bring to the table. Definitely, as we were saying, 20B, I think, has a slight edge here maybe on Granary. As far as the rest of the maps, we'll have to see how that plays out. But they did win the last meeting on that. Once again, it was 4-2. So, yeah, it looks like we actually are going to be going somewhat soon here as well. We got about 10 people in the server or so, 5 aside. So we should be getting this shindig rolling here soon. We definitely appreciate everybody showing up and joining us here for this big lower bracket matchup. Just to reiterate again, winner goes on to play Freyotech, as they did lose to Ronin last night. A very excellent game that was, to note as well. An awesome game last night between Ronin and Freyotech.
Yeah, if you've not seen them, those are pretty good to watch, especially to see the state of NATF2. If you're one of our Euro friends who's worried about what might happen this summer, you can see what you're gonna have to go up against.
Yeah, some high caliber play there. It's shaping up to be a good summer going in here. We don't know all the details yet, but possibly things for I-58 and whatnot. There's potentially, there's been rumored to be some pretty big stuff going around, so definitely keep your eyes peeled to that. A lot of big stuff happening for competitive TF2 right now. I know, I think about every cast that gets harped on to some extent about the big things coming for TF2, but I think it's definitely worth noting again and again. Got to get everybody on the hype train, because I think there is a lot of good stuff to come. So we look forward to that, and we also look forward to this game where it looks like we have all 12 players into the server now, so it's just a matter of getting everybody readied up. And how far are we past time? 10 minutes, not bad. 10 minutes past 10:30.
For TF2, we're practically ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I know, right? Dear God. It's I'm not complaining by any means. I'm quite happy with this. It could be worse. We've seen worse over the years, so I'll take 10 minutes. Now, hopefully it doesn't, I didn't just jinx it and it takes them another 15 to ready up, but...
Yeah, it turns out somebody's map is corrupted and we have to re-download everything and start all over. That's one of my best Granary memories, is where it was my first ever playoff game. It was on Granary, and I tried to log into the server and it said, your map version differs from the servers. And I just felt all of my internal organs fall out on the floor.
Oh, that's rough. Did you ever get to play the match?
Oh, yeah. It got worked out. I had to, we had to go to one of those old websites that had the maps on it, like FPS Banana.
Ooh,
and,
going old school.
Yeah, and find an old Granary to install and get TF2 to decide to work.
The question is, did you win despite all the difficulty? Yeah. Oh, all right. That's right. As we said before, that's all that matters is the dub. Got to get the dub, and hopefully one of these teams is seeking out a dub here soon, aka plan to start the game soon and get the shindig rolling, because I'm very, very excited for this, because you're gonna see two teams that are fighting for their lives, really, and I think that's when you can see some of the best TF2 is when everything is on the line. And you got to pull out all the stops to make sure that your team pulls this off. And hopefully nobody implodes this evening either, as we kind of saw 20B do in their first round game. And I know EVL has been having some, I don't want to say difficulties, but, a couple of attitude disputes of the sort among players over the course of this playoff run as well. So hopefully everybody sets those things aside and starts fresh this evening, Marxist, and we can see some lovely TF2 here.
Yeah, it's a new day. Sometimes things happen. Yeah. So we'll see. I especially like the best of 3 format, although if one team really comes out here hard, because Granary, the middle can do things to teams if they're used to playing very, very passively, and you get blown up on these middles 3 or 4 times. If your team isn't friends with each other, the sad zone will come over us all.
Yeah, nobody wants to enter the sad zone. So, well, at least you would hope not anyway. You don't want people entering.
Some people are just there to begin with, like pocket players.
Marx is throwing a little shade out there today towards all those pocket mains. Sorry, guys. But speaking of which, I guess we could talk about this as well as we talk about players. And this map in particular, who are your standout guys to make things happen on Granary on both sides here, Marxist?
Well, you gotta say that Duwatna is is quite heavily favored in the Demo Man matchup over Assassin. That's not a huge amount of shade thrown at Assassin, but Duatna is pretty heavily favored over that. I would say that his influence on the game overall is going to be much greater. If Assassin can bridge that gap, then that's definitely a point in EVL's favor. But I'm looking for Duatna to do quite a lot here. Also, you got Sizer on the Scouts, who Sizer has been around forever. He's quite good. And
Yes.
This map, a lot of people have problems with Granary because the soldier class is actually quite strong on this map, contrary to every other map in the rotation. And so, if you can have a scout that still does well regardless, and point in your column. But it looks like we're going to go live, I think. Yes, we are.
Yes, indeed we are. We are headed into it. Thank you, everybody, for sticking here with us till this game got started. It's 20B Street Hoops eSports facing off against EVL Gaming in this lower bracket round 1 matchup. Winner of this best of 3 will get to stay in the tournament, head on to the lower bracket finals. Loser goes home, so to speak. Not that anyone's going, everyone's already at home, but they're going to get knocked out of the tournament. So we head into our first mid here. Assassin already taking quite a bit of damage. Had to drop down and grab that health pack to prevent dying. Both soldiers bombing across here, trying to take down Nursey, getting a lot of damage onto Nursey, hanging on by the skin of his teeth. And it looks like right now 3 players down on the side of 20B. Make that for EVL, despite getting aggressed upon. They will win this mid and cap it up and head into second.
Yeah, the EVL mid there was one where they kind of just stood behind and choke and stayed there. That can work if the other team is going to all-out aggress you in a disorderly fashion, which is exactly what happened.
They are already moving in here, EVL. They pop this Uber off. 1 player down on the side of 20B. Ash went down, and they're still trying to cap up on that second. They finally get it, but they haven't found really too many frags here. On the last, aim is going to drop down right onto Kozin, getting a good rocket. EVL finally starting to get some cap time down onto this point, but they've lost 2 players and a couple others quite hurt, so they will have to back out here as bot mode is still in, and he will get cleaned up by Alec. They have to retreat out. Got a lot of time down, couldn't quite find it. And now they're back at second as 20B is moving forward.
Yeah, and with the new forward spawn here, they're probably going to be able to cap this out. We'll have even Ubers. We'll see how much EVL wants to hold yard here, because they should be able to actually contest, but it looks like they're scared. Yeah, so they're going to run away, and we'll give up yard and have a mid situation here. I imagine what we'll see is a bot mode bomb or some sort of suicide play out of one of the scouts. It looks like bot mode is already in. He's found players. Nope, no go. Yeah, there we go. So Assassin's gonna clean up Alec there. The Uber actually comes out from our friends on 20B, and they are in, so that's not expected there. Ash is going to go down, so is Sizer. Not a very unorthodox play from 20B that seems to be failing catastrophically.
Yeah, they lost 3 guys on that push. Bot mode even gives the "what was that" in chat. He's confused by it. Kozin might get caught out here too, potentially. Looks like nobody decides to chase as the respawns are coming through from 20B here, but it has allowed EVL to gain some ground back. They will at least take second. We should be seeing relatively even Ubers here. Nursey with actually just a slight bit of advantage, about 20% or so. I'm not sure if they're aware of this, but they will be looking for it nonetheless. I think they know Kozin may not have been healing for a little while there, so they will try and capitalize on this. Ash goes down as well, so once they get this, they should definitely try and take it in, as they're doing, but aim gets taken down by Alec with a big headshot. They take the Uber in regardless. Slemnish going forward. Nursey's still with him, but now the counter Uber should be coming up shortly from Kozin at 90% unless someone focuses him down. Not the case, as EVL has now lost 3 players. They have to back up to second once again, and they may have to concede yard here. But yeah, Kozin with the full Uber now.
Yeah, EVL definitely transformed themselves into Tragic Bronson there. and had a solo Uber on Slugnish who kind of just ran around not knowing what to do with the solo Uber. And that's part of the problem with pushing off the pipe. In your brain, pushing off the pipe sounds like a really good idea, but if anything bad happens, like AIM getting headshot, you're not going to be able to have any kind of a push. And now they're going to lose. Well, actually, we're coming all the way in from 20B. They Ubered in through and went all the way to the opposite garage. So that's pretty much held things out. Oh, and they try to Uber through, and Nursey's basically team gets dropped at the sticky trapped garage door. And that will end that.
AIM got put into the sad zone there, got melted trying to come out of garage. They tried to take that Uber in, but they just lost 3 players right off the start of the Uber, and they do have guys at the forward spawn, but it's all sticky trapped up, so I don't know if they're going to really try and go for it here. As 20B starts to cap up on second, bot mode is still inside of the forward spawn, and it still hasn't back spawned either. Duatna still has the stickies primed and ready to go on that forward spawn. He's just waiting for it. Ash is just going to go and sit there as well. He's challenging him to come out. So I don't know if he will try and make that play happen, especially since he's already taken some damage. So now he finally back spawns, and EVL is sitting inside of lobby. 20B is out in yard at the moment. Both teams have an Uber to work with as well. So we're just kind of waiting in this stalemate period till someone decides to make the play, and looks like they're rotating around towards Lunchbox a little bit. Alex over there trying maybe to bait someone into them. Bot mode actually goes down as he was waiting inside of Lunchbox, so 20B has that one pick. Let's see what they decide to do with it. It appears they want to go up top, though. Ash just went down to a trap from Assassin, and they do take this Uber in from up top. They will exchange on the second point, as not a whole lot going on within it now. 20B just trying to back themselves up a little bit. Kozin, though, has a scout behind him, needs Sizer to come in and save him. EVL losing 4 players, though, inside of here, and Kozin actually getting the arrow to take down Slemnish. 20B now with a great chance to take last as they grab second, and they will be on this point.
Yeah, no go there. Not necessarily. It was a big risk for EVL to take there to sell in for that, but Assassin did a really good job of pinning the opposing combo inside of second. So they tried their luck at coming out a little bit and got burnt for it really bad. But if they had managed to win that, it would have been great.
Couple of missed opportunities from EVL off the start of this game, and 20B will turn the tides and capitalize on one, taking a 1-0 lead here off the start of our first half in our first map of the best of 3. Bot mode goes down. He's the first victim on this mid thanks to Sizer. AIM trying to get up top gets denied. Showstopper goes down. EVL has now lost 3, make that 4 players. Nursey and Slemnish, the only 2 left alive, as Duatna now is trying to chase them down, launching stickies, but it appears as though they will get themselves out. Great for Nursey to get out of there, as it will keep these Ubers even.
Yeah, the way that we're both playing mid right now, both teams went for a classic, more passive type mid there. Oh, we got a bomb in on Nursey there, not going to work, and the Uber's actually going to come out from Kozin. Nursey's still not popping, and now there we go. So we're going to counter Uber forward and maybe try to come in, see where we've got Alec up behind, who's now going for the back cap. I don't think anyone will stop it. Yeah, there it goes. So Street Hoop's going to take a second round.
Oh, that's disastrous for EVL. They really milked out that Uber and then pushed forward, but they didn't clear all the exits. Alec on the point will cap it up. As you said, 20B taking the 2-0 lead now. And EVL was looking pretty solid up until that. So now 2-0 in favor of 20B as we head into our next mid here. Assassin's going to take a good sticky knockdown to below half health now. Just waiting for his medic to get in here and start healing him. Not too much action so far off the start of this mid. AIM is going to go and try and get up top. Takes a couple of good rockets. High bomb coming in from bot mode. Getting in onto Kozin, who surfs it around and grabs the health pack as well. 2 players down on the side of 20B. Make that 3. Duatna is one of those. And Ash may be going down here shortly. But he does find a frag first, and he'll be lurking behind in that garage area. Nursey, Kozin still alive, and Ash is behind at the moment. But EVL is going to win the mid.
Yeah. When you notice when you're coming out with the intention to play passive, and you see that the other team is also passive, basically all you can do is the first team to lose a player is gonna lose the mid 9 times out of 10. So they did start to yoink out there, did 20B, as soon as they saw that they had lost their first player, and that allowed Kozen to survive, because Kozen was already on his way to an exit door when he got bombed, and then he just used the opposite door. But we've still got Ash lurking here at mid, and I think he's just going to try to be some kind of a distraction, hope people come back for him.
Hey, he's all the way back inside of the EVL garage right now. He certainly is distracting, as Eric's trying to keep an eye out for him back there, but not really making his presence known. Would you rather see EVL, and it looks like they are starting to actually move a little bit. Nursey gets dropped by the trap from Blunt. I think AIM was trying to check it, or bot mode one of the two soldiers, but didn't actually shoot the stickies, I don't think, and just got rocked there. Nursey did by the trap, getting dropped. And now Kozen with a full advantage, 20B looking to make the push here into yard.
Yeah, you always got to give a little bit of a leash to the first soldier. I did notice the other night that the EVL team's trap victimization rate was very high. So, as a team, and maybe that's not something they look out for a lot, and it definitely burnt them here in this game on another night. And with 3 players down, we're going to see a roll through from 20B. They've also got full Uber, so the game for them right here is get second without popping. Actually, they're going to get forced. Showstopper's going to die. Lots of EVL was up in their faces. Unfortunately, they don't get too many kills. They do have Assassin, though. And if it were me, I would go ahead and push in right now. But they are backing off of this point. And they're just gonna let it go, I guess, for now.
EVL sitting inside of lobby, just on that point at the moment, 20B. They actually have Sizer behind up top, and he's gonna go in and try and take down Assassin, getting a lot of shots off. Can't quite finish the frag, though. Slemnish comes to save the day for his demo man, and now EVL looking to make the move as they had actually popped off an Uber back out inside of yard, but didn't find all that much. Sizer the only victim, and it wasn't even within the main Uber fight there. So Kozen once again at 90% looking to make a move here. EVL needs to make sure they don't get caught out here once they get this Uber and they start to push in, but they are gaining a little bit of presence into mid here, EVL. Just as I say that, starting to back off. Slemnish is going to get caught in here, though. Ash finishes him off. 20B with the Uber now ready to make their move straight back into yard, though. Nursey gaining on that Uber advantage quite quickly, as they're sitting now at 75%, and 20B looking to take the second point.
Yeah, I really like that play out of EVL, where they probed into mid. They knew that Kozen didn't have Uber yet, so you try to kill Kozen, you try to kill some 20B while they're not expecting it. We have an Uber exchange here and now. It's not going very well for 20B, and it looks like we're going to have a very successful point defense. Kozen is also going to die in that, so they're going to recap. We do have Ash behind, I think. Yeah, he's hiding under the little rampy there, and we have a 1v1, and they're going to trade out.
AIM came in just a little bit too late to save his soldier, but they clean up Ash nonetheless. They are now starting to grab this midpoint. 20B wants to try and contest, though. Showstopper bombs in, trying to find anything, but just gets turned into minced meat there by Eric and Slemnish, and they're still trying to defend this point, 20B, but it might be a lost cause. Sizer just about to go down. So many players hurt on the side of 20B. Eric and Slemnish went down as well, though, and EVL is actually coming out on the short end of the stick, as now they're trying to get their medic out as well. Nursey goes down. It ends up being disastrous for EVL, as they were looking good going into that mid-cap. Big pipes from Assassin, too, to take down Sizer, but now that is going to be a lot of advantage for 20B here to make a last push.
Yeah, we saw, it's not going to end up in a frag video, but we saw a really good play from Duatna there, where AIM was standing behind the garage crates, very hurt, and he tried to do a skip jump to the health pack, and found that there were dose stickies on said health pack, and was turned into meat. But
Collect.
we've got a Kozen Uber now. They're going around with it. They are on top right now. Now you have a decision to make. You could try to use it right now. EVL setting up a sentry gun. It is level 2, hiding between the tires. And we'll see how far they get in with this before they pop. Quite far. They're going to go ahead and drop Showstopper. Not a bad decision there. Not necessarily because of a decision regarding Showstopper, but you use your pocket, it's alright.
Oh, and this is turning out not good at all for 20B. They've lost a couple of players here. Duatna taking quite a bit of spam. He did manage to back himself up into lobby here. Alec got out as well, and they kept Kozen alive. So they had the advantage, but couldn't quite do anything with it, as they did lose Showstopper on that push, as Marxist noted. But now EVL is up on an Uber, so they want to try and take this in, but they're down 2 players at the moment. Aim and Slemnish just now getting the respawns, but they do still have advantage, about 40% to work with. So Nursey and company definitely looking to make a move here into Yard as they pop it through, but they need some classes to jump forward and try and catch them out. At Choke, they're not going to be able to do that. So 20B is just worked their way back into mid, and bot mode's trying to take down Ash in mid, and he will be the one taken out. Slemnish will go down here as well to Alex, so EVL down 2 players and a lot of advantage. They're probably going to have to give up second here again.
Yeah, normally you could end up leapfrogging over Yard, and they decided to go, EVL decided to go for the more aggressive play there, and ended up losing 2, unfortunately. And now we're going to have the Kozen Uber popped at last. They choose not to drop Showstopper this time, but they respond properly and are all over EVL back here. And that should be halftime. Yeah, so I'll elaborate here real quick, Gecks, since I imagine the chat might have got kind of angry at me suggesting that dropping your pocket's a good idea. When you're that far in, it's okay to drop the pocket, because by the time you're already 2 feet from the point, which is your objective, and you still haven't popped, if you are forced at some point after that, the whole rest of your team should be behind you, and you should be able to crush the other team relatively easily. What went wrong for 20B is they lost Showstopper, and for some reason, even though they had bought the entire half of last all to themselves, they only had 2 players back there, and so it was just poor rotational play from 20B there that ended up with that, turning that situation sour for them.
On the positive note for 20B, though, and you called this one, Marxist, Duatna having a huge impact on that first half there. 380 DPM, 13 frags, which was top on the whole server. So he was certainly doing a lot of work for 20B there. And you also had Showstopper, who's putting out some pretty good damage as well, 320 DPM. So a couple of Street Hoops players there making some big plays and doing work for them in their 3-0 halftime scoreline. And on the side of EVL, you have Slemnish, who top fragged with 10 frags, and everyone else was sitting around the same area, 8 or 6 frags for everyone else, and their top damage was aim at 276. So Street Hoops, as you would expect, getting on them in the stats department. But we are headed now into the second half, as 20B with a big 3-0 lead at the half. And now EVL trying to get themselves back into this game, as they had a couple of really good opportunities on that first half to take a round, but just couldn't quite seal the deal. So they'll be looking to put the seal on a couple of those rounds. Bot mode goes across right off the start and gets taken down, though he did find Duatna, which is a pretty good trade-off here, though Nursey's going to get crunched on by the double soldier bomb. 20B down 3 players, though, Ash and Showstopper, as well as Duatna. Aim gets denied by Sizer, but the rest of the 20B combo going to try and get out here. Assassin comes in to try and maybe find some more frags, but ends up going down, and now 20B actually is going to try and come in, recontest this mid maybe, as they're taking Alec and Sizer both in with Kozen, and they will just recapture this midpoint now as EVL backs out.
Yeah, and the thing, they're gonna end up denying Assassin his forward spawn as well there. So, an interesting play from Kozen to back out there. It's not necessarily bad or anything. It's just they decided to clean up the guy behind him before dealing with the point. but this should be pretty straightforward for 20B. They're going to pop in straight away. Assassin is dead to right, and we'll see. Nursey's going to be racing against the clock here to try to get an Uber, because 20B should be coming in, and they're doing it pretty slowly. So we'll see, can they get the Uber in time, or will the whole team die first? It looks like the Uber is going to come out here. That's going to end this for now, and we'll see if they can negotiate anything further.
Well, they got it in just the nick of time. Showstopper, who actually stayed in, was camping by the spawn door, ends up getting taken down. Now EVL looking to make a move back into the second point here. Kozen has managed to snag up about a 25% Uber advantage, maybe a little less than that, about 20%, but EVL does get that second point. They come out of Z, and they're looking to move back in towards the rest of yard. 20B is still sitting right by garage. Ash is actually in left yard, quite hurt as well, so they definitely want to try and clean up on him if possible. But right now you have bot mode that goes down as 20B is looking to make their move. They have the Uber right now. They're coming straight back into second. EVL on the counter pop here. Just about equal Ubers here, so it's just a waiting game. Who's going to win this post-Uber fight? And it looks like EVL is content to back up as they didn't have bot mode, so 20B looking to make their move into last right now as Ash pops in towards the point, and Dewatna coming in to put out some damage, but two players down on the side of 20B. Nursey went down for EVL though, so the heal advantage in favor of 20B, but it doesn't matter. EVL just does not care about it as EVL holds off the push once again, wiping 20B, and they will cap up on this second point.
Yeah, that was very well orchestrated from EVL. A lot of teams like to turn off their brains when their medic dies and just sort of run around. And that time, there was some sort of a call, and they all went at the same time, and it worked out great. And they also ignored Kozen until he was the very last one. So that was like textbook perfection on what to do when your medic dies.
Very well played from EVL, and they do have just a little bit of advantage, negligible really, just 10% or so. Not going to be enough for them to get a good push back into mid, so they are just sitting in yard for now at least, as Kozen's actually managed to put it right back to even here. So we're gonna be waiting and seeing, and this is where we often see a lot of the stalemates in the past on Granary, is when both teams have the full Uber and we're sitting here defending yard. This is oftentimes where we've seen some pretty big stalemates over the time. Hopefully that's not the case this evening, is so far no one really from 20B making any moves. What's your best bet to get into get into Marxist? Get into yard here, Marxist, if you're the attacking side.
Well, you have the traditional, so we're going to go from mid. Pushing second to mid doesn't work out so good because of your forward spawn disadvantage. That's a 5 CP universal, so that's pretty much every 5 CP map has that problem. As far as getting in, you've got a couple options here. You can do it the Euro way, which I'll cover first because it's the simplest, where you're just going to Uber in after you figure out where their combo is, and hope you do a better job. Or you'll suicide in. Bot mode actually goes in on an open choke there, and that's going to leave them very open here, is EVL. They're going to get forced inside a garage. Kozen still has the Uber. Alex is going to chase off another choke guy, and here comes the Uber from 20B. Nursey will not survive. Yeah, so they tried to negotiate a push there, and it was ill-advised.
Oh, Kozen gets taken down, though, by Slemnish. The EVL players who were still lurking around inside of mid were able to take down Kozen, which is a big return frag to get that medic pick as Nursey went down. So even though 20B had the better Uber there, EVL had that player advantage, allowed them to end up capitalizing on that, at least get the return frag on the medic, but they don't have anyone with them now, as Nursey is just starting to get back up into yard. So it's pretty much a reset at this point. As we just head back to the same position, 20B sitting inside of mid, EVL holding yard for now, and it's definitely on EVL here to be making moves, as 20B has, well, in theory it's on EVL to do so just because of time, and 20B has you know, they have the 3-round advantage here, the lead after the first half, so it's definitely on EVL as they are now actually starting to work their way inside of Garage, but neither team has Uber yet, so I don't know if we'll see anything too big. Actually, EVL is starting to make their move here. They're just going to dry push it straight in here to see what they can find as AIM takes the high ground here. They're actually just bullying 20B right back out of this mid. Cozen, who has the Uber, is getting rockets rained down upon him by AIM, and both teams will pop it off. Nursey got it in just the nick of time, and they will fight this out here. Assassin did go down on the side of EVL. Eric ends up getting taken out, but Showstopper and Ash on the side of 20B will fall as well, so it's a 4v4 fight still inside of this mid. Both soldiers alive from EVL as they're trying to take on the combo of 20B. Cozen should go down here. Actually, an excellent surf off the rocket of AIM. Cozen still alive for the time being, kept himself alive, which was key, and he will be able to actually get himself out to safety and keep the Ubers even.
Yeah, some pretty scrappy play here, but we're going to see a very classic push from EVL there where you shove in all left. And this can work out pretty good because the other team has to go into the turtle shell of the second point. And we'll see what they decide to do from here, because they actually have a little bit of Uber advantage that they've gotten out here. So that allows you to probe a little bit more to start. But it looks like they're just content to take over Lunchbox, maybe head on up. Oh, they see someone in the drop down. It's Ash trying to do stuff, and they're actually going to end up pinching AIM from the bats up top, and bomb mode's going to go down as well, and the Uber gets forced. So that's going to be a wash for EVL. Basically, now we're going to see 20B come to mid with 2 players down, 1 out of position, 1 in the spawn area. You're going to try to see 20B come in here without popping. They're probably not going to go straight away. Bot mode actually on the spy class at this time.
Oh yes, he's made his way into mid. He's sneaking around here, seeing if he can find something good, but the Uber does get popped out from 20B as they come through. Garage now trying to get into yard and catch these EVL players out. AIM gets evaporated. Eric goes down as well. Nursey's still alive with their demo man, Assassin, but actually bot mode ends up getting Duatna there with the backstab, but eventually taken out by Cozen, who gets a saw. EVL still has some advantage here, but they have no players to do it with, and now 20B is just going to start to aggress here and try and get in on last. Nursey so close to getting that Uber. They do have it now, EVL, and they haven't popped it off quite yet either. They want to try and not use it if they don't have to. Eric going big there, finding Alec and Ash. So EVL is going to be able to retake the second point here, most likely. We might see an exchange now, actually, as 20B is coming up on their Uber. They just got it, as I was saying, so they will exchange Ubers on the second point. There's actually a lot of cap time down on last, so EVL has to be careful, but 20B now looking to make strides in towards last here. They take down Slemnish, Showstopper goes down on a trade frag, and the rest of EVL now piling back into the second point. Alec, though, trying to work his way in behind. The meat shots coming out from Sizer, finishes off AIM, and they actually have that scout on last. It was Alec, found the frag on the left side shutter, and just continued to plow right on into last, and now 20B. Very strong first map here, now up 4-0.
Yeah, EVL got caught unaware of how much 20B was still actually there on second. And that's an Uber versus Uber fight when your last is already half capped is not going to turn out well.
Control point is being captured.
So, EVL in dire straits here. It's only the first map in a best of 3, but not having the start that they hope for in 20B. Looking very good, and as we said before, they did win this first matchup on Granary earlier in the season, so they are commanding at this point. Ash and bot mode having a duel over there on the right by the crates, and now 20B is down 3 players as Sizer is also sitting on 1 health. He'll get cleaned up by Eric. That's a big return mid there for EVL, a big response to their 4-0 deficit, but Cozen did stay alive, so we will be seeing even Ubers.
Yeah, EVL opting to double cap the midpoint and not push up that much. We do have the demo here in Duatna, and actually Alex is going to be the one that dies in the sticky trap, but this should turn out fine. We're going to end up with an even Uber situation. Sizer already on Sniper. Alec is running the Tinkertown class, as Blank would call it. And with actually the benefit here is with Alec dying, he could be an off class, but chooses not to. So that's one of my simple housekeeping rules, Gecks, is if you're a scout player who dies pushing second, you may as well just go whatever stupid class you want.
Well, bot mode went in for the sack play, but he'll just get dropped there quite quickly. Showstopper finished him off, had the help of the rest of his team, but Alex Sentry now, well, he's moving it around, but he is up to level 3 here, the big man, and Sizer's going to find a headshot as well, taking down Assassin. That will certainly break the defense of EVL a little bit here, as 20B will be able to maybe poke around a little bit, at least inside of lobby, to see maybe what they can find. Slemnish is up on Sniper as well, though. He's going to get the return frag, take down Sizer, get rid of that Sniper presence. So we'll see now for EVL to make the move. They actually have Ash all the way behind as well. He's inside of Yard at the moment, and I don't know if EVL's even aware of this at the moment. So we're going to see what they decide to do with that. He's starting to work his way back into Lunchbox. They need to be careful. He could get a force. He's right inside of Z, and indeed he's going to do it. Didn't quite drop Nurse. He came very close, though. But a great play from Ash to force that Uber. I'm not even sure how he got behind there, Marxist, but he makes the play.
Yeah, he did some James Bond action there to wander around behind them. And now, it's not over for 20B there. That's why you usually don't see aggressive plays off of last. Because they do have Uber advantage here, but there's still a lot of opportunity for bad things to happen. They're going to try to come in from up top. So far, so good. And they're going to be able... Oh, there's Showstopper getting dropped in a sticky trap. I'm surprised EVL's not trying a little bit harder to try and get this Uber out of them here. Actually, bot mode goes all the way around behind. And AIM is going to be stuck here with 19 health. And they're just going to give it up. But Nursey is 10% away from Uber. And once bot mode gets back, it'll be the good old Yard holding with 20B inside the turtle shell. But Ash peeks out left and finds nothing. So you should make note of that.
And right now, EVL's working against the clock. They're down 4-0. Slemnish just gets absolutely obliterated by the soldiers of 20B. Ooh, excuse me, inside a lobby. 20B is looking to make a move out of, well, the left side Yard here, if you're looking from EVL's perspective. And they are going to pop off their Uber. They need to force Kozin here, who still just is now going to pop it. And 20B with a much better Uber. EVL's got to be careful not to get caught out here. They lose Sizer and Showstopper. 20B does. So actually EVL's coming out on the better end of this one. If they could have caught a couple more players there. They actually found Ash, and Duatna's inside here by himself. Eric's coming in for the meat shots, takes him down as well. Alec and Kozin, the last two alive, and they have players chasing at the moment. There it is, the wipe came out onto 20B. They are getting a couple of respawns right now, but EVL's got to move quick. They absolutely need to cap this point, and they are going to do just that, getting themselves on the board finally. It's going to be a 4-1 game now. 20B still in the lead.
Yeah, Sizer and Ash went for a tricksy play there where they knew Nursey was going to be backing up to choke. So they came around behind there to block that doorway, and Nursey was still Ubered. So they just died.
Yeah, that's a big rip for them. A good idea in theory, but just a little bit too soon. So now EVL may be gaining a little bit of momentum for themselves as you have AIM jumping up towards the catwalk. Just gets taken down very quickly here. Big bomb in from Ash, is able to find one. Nursey finishes him off with an arrow, but things are turning sour for EVL here. They have to back up into the Yard. Sizer is chasing at the moment. I don't think he's really going to be able to go too far with this, but 20B does take that mid.
Yeah, they're already pressuring, so you at least get Yard out of this, and we'll see what they decide to do to move up. They should know that Nursey has Uber now for sure, so that'll dispel any worries about how healing may have gone down through all of this chaos. So we'll see how they decide to push here. You've got the traditional right side shutter door, and the left. Actually, it looks like EVL's going to try to maybe probe out here since they are down quite a few rounds. They need to make something happen, and usually teams are going to either engage you or back up. And it looks like they are moving into engage now with the Uber exchange in right side yard. This Uber's a lot better for Showstopper because there's a lot of people here in EVL's Uber. And we'll see now. Showstopper's going to go too deep and get taken out by the sticky trap, though.
You have a lot of guys on the side of 20B right now who, well, they were hurt. They're getting healed up now. EVL didn't want to push the issue at that moment, so they couldn't find those frags. And actually, Kozin and Alec are both in the left side yard, and they're going to have to back up to mid now. 20B lost Sizer, so EVL's looking to make some moves. There's probably about 12 minutes or so left in the game here. There was about 15 at the end of that round there that EVL had won, so they do need to keep things moving here, certainly, if they want to get back into this game. Assassin goes down to some Showstopper rockets. They ended up trading him out as bot mode found Showstopper, so each team down a player, and Nursey has a full Uber right now. They have advantage on 20B as they're only at 90% at the moment, but they're just lurking inside of this choke 20B is because they know they're coming up on the Uber soon, and both teams are down a couple of players. EVL is going to get aggressed upon by 20B, but they have a better Uber here. They pop off later, and Duatna's just trying to get out at this point, but he has AIM chasing him, and oh, good rocket there from AIM to take down Showstopper. Duatna ends up getting cleaned up by Eric and Slemnish as well. 20B is getting chased down here as Ash, I believe, may be going down. Indeed, he will. And that's only 2 players up on the side of 20B. They have to get out here as they're getting chased by EVL.
Yeah, I like the decision to block there from 20B, but the rest of the team just got out-DM'd on a few occasions, and that will back them on up. Now, they did kill Nursey in that, and Nursey still has not healed anybody. So Kozen's got the 60% Uber advantage. So you try to make your fight there at mid, you end up losing, you still have Uber advantage. So they're just going to end up getting mid back anyways.
Yeah, EVL is still sitting inside of... They're still sitting inside of the yard at the moment. Bot mode's over towards the lunchbox side, but 20B is making their move now as they know that they have some advantage to work with. They're trying to catch EVL out, but they've smartly backed up into mid here, but they will still be seeing an aggressing 20B. I'm sure Slemnish is actually hiding all the way back at yard over by the little rice area, or whatever this is, but he might be making the play here. Got the force on the Kozin. Very well done. I couldn't think of the name for Hay, but he was just hiding out back there and got the force. Excellent play out of Slemnish, and now EVL is going to have a full advantage to push into yard with.
Yeah, 20B much too slow there. Played right into the hands of EVL, and now we're going to see them have some sort of an Uber push here. Ideally, you would want to try to get into this without using Uber, but that will be pretty challenging with 6 other people on the side. Sides are already switching off to Tinkertown. The Uber is going to come out. Duatna in a lot of trouble. Yeah, they need to keep going. This is definitely the situation where you keep going. The level 1 7th player, though, is going to screw over AIM as it locks onto him while he's in the sky and throws him around. And I think Nursey going to get a kill as well.
Things still looking great, though, for EVL. They came in. I think they heard you. They kept themselves going after they got that Duatna pick, and they're going to make it 4-2 now. 20B still in the lead.
Yeah, so that was good. I like the way EVL's trying to play this. The mids are a little questionable at times, but I like that they opt for the more aggressive decision. It doesn't always turn out, but it's at least fun to watch.
Definitely much more fun to watch. We've seen passive play on this map, and my god, is it a resident sleeper. So good to see the aggression coming out from EVL. So there's about 10 minutes left on this second half here. EVL still down 2 rounds. If they don't secure those, they will lose this map. Kozin gets taken out, though, by Slemnish. That's a very big frag. Nursey got taken out as well. It's a 3v4 fight. 20B with the advantage. Actually, now make that a 2v3, turning it in favor of EVL. They're all very, very hurt, but Duatna's the last one alive from 20B. He's actually able to find one, but he is going to have to back up. Well, he's still lurking around inside of that choke. For the time being, EVL is going to cap up on the point, though. So that's a nice mid-win there from EVL.
Yeah, solid mid win. I don't really know what they're doing with AIM here, because AIM is doing this strange ring around the rosy mid, where he basically just jumps in a big circle around mid, and 20B knows that that's like his thing, because when he lands, there's a soldier that jumps him immediately and kills him to start every mid.
They're having a fight here out in yard. Showstopper was able to take down Slimish, and Showstopper, who is very, very hurt here, ends up going down anyway. To fall damage, he will crater, and AIM is actually going to jump in and try and get a pick there onto Kozin, but not going to be able to. They still have Sizer lurking as well back by Garage. So I don't know if they're aware of this at all. They're trying to cap up on this second point, and oh, here comes Sizer straight on in, getting some excellent shots onto Assassin to take him down, and they were able to clean up onto him, but here comes Alec too to take down Nursey, getting the drop. Taking just excellent shots there, and that is another big pick. These flanking scouts from 20B making big stuff happen, and now a full advantage for 20B.
Well, there wasn't a drop there.
No, not a drop.
To be fair, yeah, EVL did this weird thing where AIM moved forward so as to push, and the rest of the team did not. So then they just kind of had a Uber there and tried to get into 20B's last, and then all the sad happened.
Lots of sad. Very, very many sad. As now 20B, they have that full Uber. They're looking to make a move at the moment. They just got out of second. Nursey is only at 60%, so there's not too much they can do. Ash goes down to some stickies from Assassin, so they'll at least have that one player advantage. And Nursey now 30% away from coming up onto the Uber, but 20B is not really looking to make that move. They know they're getting tight on the advantage. They lost the guy, so they're just going to sit back and let EVL make the moves here, because they are getting low on time, Marxist.
Yeah, I hope EVL takes note of that for future use. Slimnish, unfortunately, going to go down. They tried to do the flood left push, and 20B responds very rapidly. Yeah, Nursey going to try to save a scout, not going to happen. Assassin is currently in the sad zone. He's sure to die as well. And the 20B Uber is still rocking, and they should be able to get in here. You just want to yoink Nursey out of here. You don't want them to die. But bot mode's going to go in and try to get Kozin. There he does. So that will save the day for EVL.
Yeah, it really will, because now they can at least muster up some Uber advantage, and they want to try and move back into mid here and prevent 20B from getting this cap. They take down Alec and Ash. Sizer's still in, was able to find AIM, but he gets cleaned up swiftly there by Slemnish, so EVL looking now to make some big moves. Kozin just got the respawn and is starting to heal up on his teammates, and it'll be nearly a full advantage here for the EVL squad, about 80%. And oh goodness, the trap from Duatna found Nursey. Once again, EVL going down to traps. They had such a good opportunity to maybe go on to take that round, but it's missed yet again from EVL, as now they have 20B closing back in onto them on second. EVL's doing anything that they can to try and kill Kozin or find frags, but it just doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do that for now. Bot mode goes down, and 20B is now looking to make their move.
And AIM is hiding behind, but he gets sighted out. So this is going to be another death for EVL, maybe. He's still jumping around. There we go. Yeah, that'll suck the wind right out of your sails when you have a med go down that way. Everything was looking great for EVL. They were going to get another round probably, and nobody checked for traps, and that's the end of your med.
It's been a problem a few times now for EVL, and that'll be the mid going back to 20B. Kozin has 30% advantage still. We'll see if they really want to go off that, because we've said many a times now, EVL are the ones that are working against the clock here, so 20B really doesn't have to make any moves. It is 4-2 at the moment in favor of 20B, and I don't know exactly how much time, but I gotta imagine it's around 5 minutes or so at this point, so definitely the pressure on for EVL here, as they are now trying to work their way back into mid. They have the Uber to make this happen, but AIM goes down on top of the crates. They have bot mode, who may go down as well if they don't get some heals onto him. It's disastrous for EVL. They're just going to have to back up into yard once again. 20B now looking to take this aggression on into them as they have those number advantages. Ubers get popped off here by Garage, and EVL is just going to try and get out as quickly as they can. I think bot mode's going to get caught inside of here, though. Yes, he is. And EVL is just continuing to back it on up.
Yeah, now typically you would expect for EVL to back up there after their probe into mid failed. They knew 20B was backed up and in an awkward spot, and that they have forward spawns still when fighting on second. They're going to get Cozen as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, so staying up was great. This was all wonderful calls from EVL. We see Sizer coming in for the flank here, and this is probably going to put Nursey into the sad zone as Sizer is on the hunt on mid. Very hurt is Nursey, going to get cleaned up though, and that will get mid back for EVL. Really great use of the Uber there in Garage. Good call to back off after it was all said and done. Your forward spawns come in and win the round, or well, at least that point of the map for you, but it could be the round as long as Nursey doesn't die in a sticky trap. Will they check?
It ended up, I think they were checking around for it. Didn't go down this time, Nursey, and they have a lot of advantage here. Absolutely must-win push for EVL if they want to get themselves back into this game. Aim gets taken out by Sizer, though, immediately on their entry. He will just get domed, and they're already down 2. Make that 3 players. Things not looking good for EVL here at all. It's just Nursey and Assassin alive, as only Showstopper went down from 20B there. They have to back up. Another missed opportunity from EVL, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, you lose a player to the headshot at the start of the push. They're trying to have subsidiary players come out of other doors, and maybe eventually they'll have a lot of their team come through the same way. And we get the Uber Force out. Nursing is pretty close, but these double doorways here are pretty good for making sure you're not going to get killed. And now they're doing it again. Typically you would see teams that are 3 down back up, but they're pressuring 20B because 20B is really clumped up. They all want to come through this garage door, and they're going to be forced out. That's how 3 players stop 6 from moving forward.
Yeah, that was very well
get 2
done.
kills.
Slemnish getting Showstopper. Comes through Z. EVL still looking to keep their stride going here, as they are going to cap second. They will have about a 30% advantage. They were forced to use it, so they absolutely need to get this one here. Once again, gotta get the round on this push if they have any chance of coming back on this map. Slemnish gets taken out. 20B finding frags left and right here. Nursey's down as well. Aim gets taken out. It's a disaster once again for EVL, and I can't imagine that there's enough time for them to still win this game here, as 20B is going to come back out and grab this second point.
Yeah, the Showstopper got a nice double air shot there on aim, I should note also. But yeah, that was one of those Ubers where it felt like nobody expected it, except maybe Nursey. And the team just wasn't ready yet. I'm not sure why they popped to begin with. I mean, Ubering in at some point would have been the right decision, but popping Uber all the way back when your med's standing on second isn't going to work out. And Nursey's actually going to get down here, and that will probably be a wrap as far as their chances of winning this game. I don't know how much time is left, but I think that will be all. Yeah, that's 43 seconds, so 23. Even less.
Worse than we thought. Worse than we thought. Wish I could talk. Yeah, so that is definitely going to be a wrap for this game. I mean, EVL, they really started to get themselves back into it on that second half. So many good opportunities, but just couldn't seal the deal on a lot of those big advantages that they had going into last. I mean, was there a general theme there that you saw, Marxist? The problem with the EVL pushes, or just bad luck?
Well, some of EVL's mids were very ineffective. The other issue is that they had their medic dropped Uber to sticky trap twice. And that's not necessarily Nursey's fault, by the way, because typically medics are the second person to go through a doorway.
Yeah.
So whoever went first is clearly at fault. And that could be round losing. And it typically was. And their last pushes as part of transition were really, really bad. It just didn't work out. 20B as far as on the rap sheet for them of things they did particularly poorly, that I wish EVL would have victimized them for a bit more, because they did a really good job at catching 20B in transition, because 20B likes to all go the same way. And when you know that a team does that, you're allowed to aggress them at those tiny doorways, which EVL used to swing the map for them a couple times, and it was really great to see. But 20B's movement out of the turtle shell of second and into yard was very slow. They gave up a 60% advantage at one point.
Yeah.
Because of how slow they were to get out of the turtle shell. And so we'll see if that sort of thing comes into play again on Badlands, where you have a lobby to guard your last, and then you will be forced to move out to get Spire. That might be a little theme to keep note of, since we're headed to Badlands next. Yeah, I really like what I see out of EVL. That was great.
Yeah, they're definitely hanging tight with Street Hoops. I mean, it was much closer than, I mean, not even that 4-2 is a really bad score line, but I mean, it felt so much closer than that, really, for EVL. I really think they could have won that game. Certainly, it was just a few very missed opportunities. And if we take a look, just kind of scrolling through some of the stats from the game in total, of course, Duatna carrying that theme that he had on in the first half, not quite as much DPM as he had before, but finished the game with 333 DPM and 23 frags. Still putting out big damage there, and a big 36 frags coming out of Showstopper. Got his DPM up to 312 as well. So two very key players, and Alec, of course, getting 30 frags on Scout, really making some big moves for Street Hoops there. And keeping what we've seen so far in mind here, Marxist, how's this going to play out on Badlands, you think?
Well, okay, so Duatna, if he has it tonight, Badlands is going to be really hard for EVL, because the demo man on that mid is very important. I imagine EVL started to do it after half the first mid they came back. Both soldiers went for Duatna right away, killed him, and then EVL won the mid. So we might see a little bit of that for Badlands to try to stop him from being as much of a factor, because Assassin was not only slower to mid and being damaged by Duatna at the start of the mid, but the scouts on 20B knew that to be a fact and were pistoling poor Assassin as well, and he couldn't get the health pack because there were stickies on it already.
Yeah.
So he wasn't allowed to be a factor a lot of the time, and they can't let that happen on Badlands, or it's going to be pretty ugly.
Yeah, definitely something to keep note of for the EVL squad. And it's, speaking of which, too, I mean, as we're trying to get into our Badlands game, by the way, folks, we're working on getting into that one now, so just bear with us here. But well, actually, on that note, we'll go ahead and we'll just go ahead and take a real quick break, guys. Let me and Marcus catch our breaths a little bit and grab some drinks and whatnot and get set up for our next game. So don't go anywhere, guys. We have more lower bracket action coming up for you between Street Hoops and EVL Gaming, heading on to Badlands. Now for Map 2, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We are just about to get started with Map 2 in this best of 3 in our first round lower bracket matchup between Street Hoops Esports and EVL Gaming. Street Hoops took our first game of the series in 4-2 fashion on Granary. My name is Gecks. Alongside me, I have Marxist and Mathsad on production. Still hanging in there, Marxist.
Oh yeah, I got my cheese and crackers here. We're ready to rock for another game. I really like what I saw at EVL there, so I'm more excited than I normally am, because if somebody tries to play the way the game was meant to be, then I put a feather in their hat.
Yeah, they were certainly looking pretty good. Couldn't pull out the win on that first map, but definitely looking good. And they were hanging in tight there with 20B. It's what we were saying before. They were really hanging with them. I felt much closer than 4-2, really. A lot of good opportunities from EVL. I'm not sure if I asked you this yet, but what who do you think is going to take this map? Is 20B just going to sweep over with it, or is EVL going to get themselves back in this one, even it up?
I'm going to say this map's going to be pretty tough for EVL, at least what we saw out of the start here. And that's mainly going to come down to these mids and a guy named Duana.
Yeah.
If they can stop him from just totally shutting them down on mid, then maybe we'll see an EVL win here. But that's pretty much going to be the deciding factor as we head into our first middle, game 2, with 20B in the lead.
They are indeed up 1-0. In the best of 3, winner of this series goes on to play Freyotech in the lower bracket finals. Loser is out of the tournament completely. They're out of playoff contention, so very big map on the line here for both of these teams. EVL trying to stay in it, 20B trying to finish off the win, as it looks like EVL's trying to go up by 20B's shithouse side here on far right. They've already secured themselves 2 frags. 20B makes that 3. Showstopper's the only one down so far on the side of 20B. And EVL just getting massacred. Nursey knew things weren't looking good from the start and has smartly backspawned and is going to stay alive waiting for the respawns, but 20B gets the mid.
Yeah, and because of the backspawn, Nursey's going to lose all the Uber. And yeah, great mid there from 20B. They knew that EVL were going to come out and try to do a really aggressive mid to start because of a guy named Duana, and they had set a trap for them. And it just so happened that EVL went to double bomb both soldiers onto the train car, and they were prepared. As the Uber comes in, the 7th player is going to be deceased, and we've got a pocket on the point, or actually a roamer on the point. Ash is going to die by his own rocket. Assassin's going to be taken out by Sizer, but Slumnish trying to hold this point.
Big pyro plays there from Slumnish. Oh, there it is. Kozin just stands on it. They still had a couple of guys up, but Kozin just walked right onto the point and finished off the cap. It was already pretty well capped up, but that was excellent stuff there from Kozin. Even got a couple of frags at the tail end of it to get the Saw and the big arrow right at the end. So now 20B taking a quick 1-0 lead here off the start of our map 2. So EVL's got to come back with a strong mid right here, and Bot Mode's gotten behind. Might be able to find Alec inside of house. Already gotten a couple of good rockets off. Duatna and Kozin both down here as well from Assassin, getting some really big stickies. This is a comeback mid for EVL, as they have found all the frags except for, well, just a few here. Showstopper trying to get out, ends up falling to his death, so EVL gets the mid win.
Yeah, solid mid out of them there. They were really backed up to start, but they sort of recollected themselves and then moved forward. We do have an Alex sniper out here, and he's going to keep running around. Probably going to die now. Yeah, there he goes. So a well-negotiated mid from EVL. Didn't do so well, did 20B. When you got the other team backed up, you need to go for the throat. And now they're going to do a European thing and go into the lower right. This used to be like the main way to do it, and actually the 7th player says, no, you won't.
Oh, they were able to take it down. A lot of guys from EVL really hurt here, and they're losing players because of that. Assassin at 64 health. Nursey goes down to Ash and it's once again disastrous for EVL. Assassin's the only one to survive the fight. He's got to back all the way up to mid, and 20B's looking to recap Spire here. Kozen's going to build himself up quite a bit of an uber advantage here, Marxist.
Yeah, unfortunate from EVL. The lower right push works as long as you get a kill quickly or get point pressure, and they got, well, they ended up having to shoot a sentry gun, and that was the end of that. We're going to see 20B come in here. They do have a sniper, so, and Kozen is hurt now as well. So they're pressuring up on this choke. Really nice aggressive play still yet, even though AIM gets air shot and then embarrassed by Sizer as he falls to the ground. The Uber comes out. 20B gonna back off though, content to set up the leapfrog.
Yeah, Duatman was really hurt in that fight too, sitting back in choke. Kept himself alive, but now 20B is going to cap up on that midpoint. EVL with a hefty bit of advantage, about 70%, so they're going to look to make a move off of this once they get all their players back up and healed up. And Ash is behind here, all the way back at last. Once again here, he's done an excellent job of getting behind. The Uber gets popped off from EVL. They haven't found really, actually they did find Kozen. Assassin got a big sticky there to take down Kozen, but they're not finding much else besides that. Sizer goes down as well. Slemnish and Eric are out of it on the side of EVL, and they have a scout onto Nursey. Alec will clean up on that frag as well. EVL is getting the return frags, but they lost their medic, which was quite sad because they got Kozen. They could have mopped up some Uber advantage, but nonetheless, 20B is going to be looking to come back in here potentially. You have Assassin on the point who's standing right on a sticky, nearly dies, and actually ends up falling to his death here. So 20B looking to make the move back in.
Yeah, no Assassin. Good play from 20B here to end up contesting this with their respawn advantage. And with no Assassin, you're going to be able to get a push going. Ash still alive from his secret spy mission to last still yet. And we're going to see them cap the second point here. Bot mode maybe going to die. Yeah, there he was. Duanda had already trapped that door when bot mode dropped down. So not seeing the 8 stickies blocking his escape route.
And now the 20B's gotten themselves up top. They have a lot of advantage here. Kozen just coming up on the Uber right now. They'll make a top left push. Standard top left push as you see often, bringing in the Pocket and Sizer, and they're just going to stand on the point there. Alec got a lot of cap time down, couldn't quite finish it off though, and 20B's lost a couple of players now. Both of their scouts are out of the fight, and they also have a very hurt Ash here, so they have to back up. He ends up going down actually. Ash does, so no cap there from 20B. EVL keeping it at a 1-0 game, and they will now come out, though on the bright side for 20B, they did manage to kill Nursey.
Yeah, and that's going to hurt in the long run because 20B is standing out here. They've got their forward spawns coming in. So basically all EVL's managed to do is chase them out of lobby. And now we've got double off-class last hold setting up because they know the situation is bad and they've got to figure out some way to do things. Usually you're going to do that with a double off-class scenario. They went for... Well, we've switched to Pyro now, which is not too bad. Also, because of the way teams tend to push. Or you can have a guy suicidal! Oh! Sticky trap for Kozen! Yes! It was the forward sticky trap on the lip. You almost never see that anymore. So really nice play from Assassin there. The sentry gun beeping sold it even better.
Oh, well done. They got a big drop there, EVL did, and they want to come on to second now. They do have Ash and Alec lurking, actually, behind here. We might be seeing a back cap if they are not careful. They do take down Ash, but Alec's going to be coming on to a 2. Finishes off the cap. They sent 2 back there for that back cap. And the NG just got melted. Eric did once Alec came in to finish off the cap. EVL did a lot of things right, but 20B... getting the upper hand there, taking a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, the unfortunate, usually your sentry gun tries to do what it can, but it can't shoot around corners.
Unfortunate for EVL, they had a full advantage to push out with too, so 20B taking a 2-0 lead, looking very solid here. AIM so hurt on the low ground. They lost Eric, he was the first victim in the mid, but bot mode finds Duatna. That's a big pick for them, especially because of what a presence Duat is. Showstopper trying to hunt down bot mode over here on the flank side. Finally, AIM will get taken out, and Nursey inside a choke. He nearly died. Barely staying alive with just 25 health there. And it is a 4v4 fight at the moment. Showstopper's trying to re-enter. They actually pop off the Uber. Nursey just getting the Uber right now. They'll have to counter pop, and they have a better one to go with. As right now they get a good flash on Assassin as well to keep him alive, and Showstopper goes down as he tries to escape. So the battle continues here on this mid. EVL trying to work their way back in, and 20B is getting their respawns as well, but I don't think they're gonna have too much ground to push back in on. I don't know. Assassin's still standing on this point, stuffing stickies in there, so 20B's got to back off. EVL eventually wins the mid.
Yeah, the Uber reply from Nursey took such a long time. It was going to be bad for 20B. They tried to throw Showstopper in there to get Assassin out of the way. And now, actually, big play from Duatna onto Nursey. Gonna take out the EVL medic and maybe more. Bot mode gonna try to run in there on Kozen. No go. So now we will probably see Slemnish try to do something that you might call silly to try to kill Kozen. And we'll see how he and Assassin collaborate.
He's sitting over in Diag right now. Slemnish just waiting it out. He's actually got the combo potentially moving through here. Oh no, he's gonna hightail it. Hightail it out of there. He got all the way back up into mid. I think he knew it probably wasn't gonna work out, but 20B looking to make their push in through the flank side here. EVL starting to scatter all over the place. Assassin might end up losing his life. He's still caught in right now. He's really trying to get out. They actually have a couple of guys back here. EVL, they're on this second point cap, and 20B's trying to come in to stop it. Showstopper ends up going down. AIM is still on that cap right there. Really needs an arrow up top as EVL continuing to make their push here. Sizer, Showstopper, Duatna goes down as well. EVL getting that second cap. They find a lot of good frags, and they have a whole lot of advantage as well. Slemnish taking a fight with Ash down here on the lower right. Things looking great for EVL here. They are on the point, and they will cap up to put themselves within one. It is still a 2-1 game, though, in favor of 20B.
Yeah, solid play there from EVL. 20B with a couple errors there that pretty much undid them. They ended up losing their choke protector when they went for the wrap play and got wrapped themselves. And that never works out.
Well played there from EVL. Bit of a misstep from 20B to note as well. Looks like 20B is trying to send everybody underneath the point right here. Showstopper comes up. Slemnish ends up going down to Ash, and Showstopper actually eventually ended up taken out, and AIM will go down to another pipe from Duatna here. So 2 players down on each side. Actually, EVL losing a third there. That was bot mode that goes down. So they're still in this fight, though. I think Nursey might die. Just got the Uber off in time to keep herself alive, but Duatna underneath the point might end up going down here. Kozen does not yet have the Uber, was searching for a Saul as he was at 75%. Duatna should be going down here. Indeed he will. EVL, another well-played mid, they'll be able to get some Uber advantage here as well, Marxist.
Yeah, some people might put the subterranean mid, as it were, in the book of silly strats, but it can work out pretty good if you can manage to catch the other team while they're trying to go up the slope. 20B was not able to do that, and so they ended up just having to fight the whole mid from Valley. We'll see if there's any sort of ruination here. No, it doesn't look like it. So we're just going to have Nursey with the Uber. They will Uber in and hope to get kills and cap.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? That is the goal. Get kills and cap. As they're just about to come up on their Uber right now. Nursey at 95%. And let's see where they decide to take this. I'm thinking they want to go lower with this one as they send Assassin in. Got to take care of that 7th player. They melt Alec with the stickies as well. And they've already found 1 frag here, but the 20B players scattered. Actually, some went into spawn. They're trying to stand onto the point. Haven't really found that much cap time. It is a quick capping point, but they've now lost 3 players. The other 2 extremely hurt. It's only Showstopper left alive, though. He's so close to dying. Bot mode is going to stand on the point, and they've tied it right back up at 2-2.
Yeah, some people might be, they might question Nursey's decision to just run straight on the point there, but as soon as they took out a player to start, which was their engineer there, then Nursey's life is less important, and that was a really good call because it forced 20B to get down on the ground and have a crappy defensive position for the rest of that.
Getting into our 5th mid of the game, Nursey is going to be the first victim. Ash bombing over, takes down the medic of EVL Gaming very quickly here, and that is going to make things very difficult for EVL, excuse me. Aim is, oh my goodness, takes a rocket in the back. Well placed from Showstopper. His aim was trying to finish off Kozin and came very close to. May not have been able to save his medic without that air shot there. Huge from Showstopper. And now 20B is going to come back into this mid here.
Yeah, we actually have Ash hiding in lobby in a pretty good position because nobody's gonna see him most likely. Unfortunately, he's probably not gonna see anybody else either because they're not in a situation that would work if the other team was holding in trash and you back them out. Kozin does have Uber here, and we might see it come into play then. Now he's gonna move forward, and he's gonna show up right behind these guys. Yeah, this is gonna be devastation. So there comes Ash with the classic Mangachu-esque play.
Oh, and it paid off. There is down 4 players at the moment. EVL Assassin desperately trying to stay alive. He is still up on the battlements at the moment. Slemnish is in as well, causing a ruckus over by Greybridge, trying to finish off Showstopper, but he got an arrow just in the nick of time from Kozin to stay alive. So EVL at the moment on the back foot towards last. A full Uber for 20B to work in with here. They still have a couple of respawners moving forward, but 20B just wants to go with it anyway before EVL has time to set up a defense. And so far they found 2 frags. Aim and Slemnish both down. Slemnish is just about to get his respawn right now. 20B looking to go in on a re-push here. Once they gathered themselves with their respawner, Showstopper went down, but they're nonetheless finding more frags. A lot of time down onto the point, and they will finish it off to Atna with a big last point there, and they will be able to go up 3-2 at the half here, though it's been very back and forth, very tight first half.
Yeah, I'll talk about that last push there a little bit. The 20B was very spread out when they went in for that Uber because they had just dealt with a fight on second and all that goes along with that. So Showstopper just went in, did a little bit, and then backed out, and they pushed up top right, which is like the oldest trick in the book. And then we had a scout get on the point very quickly while they were all looking at the opposite side of their last. And the entirety of 20B, except maybe one player, EVL rather, dropped onto the point and then were quickly dealt with. Yeah. So, and that is how you push Badlands last. It was great.
Say textbook?
Yeah, it was great. So here we go. I also want to point out, here's another great thing. When I do the newbie mixes, if a roamer survives mid, they have free license, I would always tell them, to do whatever stupid thing it is they want to do. And Ash chose Stand on the Light, and it ruined EVL.
Yeah, it's paid off big time. It was a very nice play from Ash, and he was able to collect up a lot of frags, a lot of damage, and now they will head on into the second half here. We kick things off. 20B taking a 3-2 first half lead, but EVL once again, just like on Granary, very much so in this. Ash with a bomb straight onto Assassin to start the mid. He ends up getting cleaned up, but that's a trade you will take all day. Roamer for demo, and right now EVL has to get all the way out. Bot mode is going to go down as well, as he got caught in the backfield. 20B gets the mid, and they will press on.
Yeah. Nursey does survive, though, so we're going to see an EVL hold here, and they're not going to be able to contest second, really, although they might try. We saw that kind of action on Granary, but it doesn't look like that's what they're going to do here. So, pretty standard last, actually going cookie cutter as of right now, while we have Slemnish switching on over to Sniper here.
He's going to see what he can find. He's peeking up from the EVL top right side. He's got Ash spamming at him, but I think he knows better than to hold that angle for too long on him. He's still trying to get the spam out, though, hoping Slemnish doesn't pop his head off here one of these times. But so far, nothing on the side of 20B. They have yet to sack in or anything of that sort, so we'll see how they decide to play this. There's the headshot coming out from Slemnish there finally, and he rings off another one onto somebody. That was onto Duatna, actually. Almost got him as well. But big headshot there from Slemnish. What does EVL want to do with that, though? As they have moved into upper lobby just a bit. Kozin actually taking a lot of damage. Is now going to have to back up. They got forced. Barely missed getting dropped. Kozin did just, I mean, by only a few HP stayed alive. And he's going to fall down onto this low ground here. EVL wants to make a move back out. As Kozin is quite hurt. A lot of 20B players actually pretty hurt here. Alec and Ash are among those guys. So AIM now trying to commandeer this Spire, but Nursey's also very hurt. They have to be careful. Frags going off all over the place here. Kozin takes down Nursey with the arrow, though, and they will clean up onto Eric. Duatna finding that one with a sticky, and there goes Assassin as well. 20B just recollapsing back onto that Spire point, and they should be able to pick up on this round here as well as they close in onto last.
Yep, and they're probably going to end up... Yeah, so you've probably heard me say it a million times by now, but if you Uber out of last without getting multiple kills, you are going to lose the round. And especially if the other team has Uber. So that was pretty much never going to work out for EVL, so unfortunate for them. And now we are into this mid-match point for 20B.
Match point indeed. The season, breakout season that EVL had is hinging on not losing another round on this map here. They have to be perfect for the rest of this map. Showstopper, who's incredibly hurt, is going to go down. Assassin cleaned up on that damage, excuse me. A lot of 20B players very hurt here. 3 of them quite hurt. Ash and Duatna are both ailing at the moment. EVL trying to back themselves up a little bit as they had lost 3 players, but Assassin is still poking these 20B guys a little bit, but their health isn't the best. They think it's a better idea just to back up here and wait for some of the respawns as 20B takes this mid.
Yep, not... Oh,
well,
this is going to not to be good for EVL if they decide to push in here. This is not the sort of fight you want to take, and they're letting themselves in here. The Uber comes out. Alec is going to go down as well to bot mode. 20B really flubbing this defensive mid so far, and now we've essentially got another mid fight, and 20B's just gonna say, nah, never mind, we quit, and run away. But Ash on Spy behind them on the ground.
Oh goodness. We knew we had to see it at some point here. He's chilling underneath the bridge, and some of the EVL players seem cautious to something at the moment. They're lurking, looking around for things. I don't know if they felt the spy, but it actually looks like he's going to spawn off there. Ashwell back to Soldier, but they are having an exchange on second. 20B's pushing the issue with them here. AIM goes down. They also lost Eric. So 20B looking to press forward. They do have an Uber EVL, and 20B not quite up on theirs yet, but they want to just take these number advantages that they have. Bot mode may end up going down here. He needs a flash desperately. Nursey couldn't quite grab him. And now that is going to be Slemnish getting this force out of Kozin at least. So they got the force, but they do have a much better Uber here, obviously, on the side of 20B, and they'll be able to grab this midpoint.
Yeah, that was a huge botch from EVL, because they had Uber, so you should never ever give that point up and fight 20B in the choke, and they did not. And I don't know who it was that screwed that up there, but it's going to end up costing EVL possibly the game. Assassin's going to get Sizer in a sticky trap, but we are going to see the point capped by Alec here. They're still on the ground as 20B. Somewhat of a forward hold right now from EVL, but they're getting up a 7th player and pulling out. So we should see a push now soon.
Especially with bot mode going down. I don't know how he got himself behind, but he did, and he ends up going down. So the Uber is now up for 20B, and they probably want to go with this one sooner than later. That's exactly what they're going for as they move out the top right side this time. Will finally pop it off. This could be the end of EVL season if 20B is successful on this cap. They're pressing across the point right now. They have a lot of time down. They need to prevent that Soldier from landing on the point. Street Hoops caps it off, and they will take this lower round 1 matchup, ending EVL's season. finishing off that game there at 5-2. And a big night for 20B, as they didn't have the best of evenings in their first playoff match against Ronin, but they redeemed themselves this evening, playing quite well.
Yeah, solid match. Hopefully EVL chooses to stay together in more or less the same form, because they're pretty close to having it together. They tried to do a lot of things that you don't really see very much anymore, and sometimes it worked out great and sometimes it didn't, and it it just takes quite a bit of practice to get it into the works most of the time category.
Yeah, they're definitely almost there. EVL, and they had a brilliant start to the season. I mean, that they can compete with a lot of these top teams, because they have beaten the likes of Street Hoops and Froyotech. And as you said, I'd like to echo that point. Definitely hope they stick together. But you guys can see those stats up on your screen there, as Duatna dropping the big 422 DPM, Marxist 422 DPM with 24 frags. That is just monstrous game from him. He played well on Granary, star of the game once again on Badlands, really showing up for 20B tonight.
Yep, when your demo is significantly outdoing the other team's demo, it's like playing the game on a different difficulty setting, because every target that you fight has a lot less health than your brain tells you to expect them to have.
Yeah,
and it's just great. It works out really good for you if you're playing a fragging class.
Yeah, he really having a big one there. Mr. Steve. That's pretty much all the chat is full of at the moment, is just Steve. So I expected nothing less from our lovely Twitch chat. But yes, that was just absolutely monstrous from your man Duatna there. But taking a look at the rest of them, Sizer also having a pretty good game for himself as well. 21 frags, 252 DPM, and that's those were your two main fraggers in the match, Duatna and Sizer. But still, great showing from Street Hoops. They will move on now to play against Froyotech in the lower bracket finals. Once again, gotta win from here on out to get to the finals. Between Froyotech and 20B. Whoever loses that one is going to go home, and the winner of that game will then go on to play Ronin in the grand finals. So lots of good TF2 coming up here, Marxist.
Yeah, the Froyo 20B game should be pretty interesting, I would say. We'll see who ends up casting that shortly, I imagine. And it should be a good one to look out for. It should be coming down the TF2 pipeline pretty soon.
Oh, yes, very, very soon. That brings me to the next point. You guys got to keep on checking back here at teamfortress.tv, where you can keep up with all the news and the schedules for when these games are going to be casted and whatnot. You can keep up to date with all of that here on Team Fortress TV. Keep yourself in the loop with what's going on here as we head down the stretch of the playoff season in ESEA. But I think that is just about going to do it for us this evening, Marxist. As we always do, I'll leave it open to you for your closing comments here before we sign off.
Oh boy. Yep, so, well, I had fun. I hope you did too. And, that's all I've got to say tonight.
You couldn't have said it any better. I think that sums it all up. Good games all around from both teams. Street Hoops taking it in the end in 2-0 fashion across our best of three, and they will face themselves against Froyotech probably next week sometime. So definitely, once again, check up here on Team Fortress TV for that whole schedule. But anyway, that is going to do it for us this evening. For myself, Gecks, Marxist, Mathsad, big shout outs to him for the production this evening, and everybody else here at Team Fortress TV. We say goodnight to you guys, and we will see you next week for our lower bracket finals.